This week's episode is brought to you by Demonic House Cleaning Services. Have you ever tried to dust off a sconce? What about cleaning a fireplace flue? Don't even get me started on all the dirty shit below your house. Demonic House Cleaning Services will clean you out of house and home if you just sign right here on this dotted line. Pay no attention to the fine print. We employ only the most insane demons to clean your house. Have you ever seen a demon? Better hope not. Those bitches can be scrubbing the grout in the downstairs half bath 1 second and dusting off your third-story chandelier the next. Best of all, it's free. Demonic House Cleaning Services. House cleaning so good, you'll think you sold your soul.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
The stroll through the scraggly woods. He had no face! Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk! Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hanson, who holds a PhD in spookology, and Professor David Day, that's me, the foremost expert in scare meow meows. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. You guys should check us out at horrormovietalk.com. From there you'll find links to all of our social media and, different ways to support us, like our Patreon. And, if you do your shopping on Amazon, we have a link that you can click, and some of that will go to us. We post new episodes every single Wednesday, so make sure to subscribe and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts or whatever it is, the thing that you listen to us on. If you'd like to call into the show, you can do so by calling 682-253-4468. That gets you through to a voicemail line where you can leave us a voicemail and, tell us what you think or what you would like to know. You can even ask us.
And you can tell us about getting your asshole eaten out.
Yeah, you can do that. You can tell us, you can ask us like really personal questions, like what are your deepest fears, or how often do you wash your butthole? All those kinds of things.
Weekly.
Today, I'm super excited. Oh, you wash it weekly?
At least.
That's a surprise given the smell. Today, I'm super excited for this episode. I didn't realize how excited I would be, but after viewing the movie, I was like, holy shit, this is a fucking banger, man. Today, we'll be talking about Paranormal Activity 3. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry you had to watch it, 5 being an average enough film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being, a 10, so good that it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later in this episode, we will be doing the oldest bit that we have, Taglines, where we come up with funny, goofy, or bad taglines for the movie that Bryce still hasn't written, apparently.
What? No. Of course I've prepared.
So, as I said, we watched Paranormal Activity 3, and I literally had nightmares following the viewing of this movie. This movie has taken the tried and true formula of the first few movies of Paranormal Activity movies and sharpened it. And it really knocks it out of the park in terms of scares. At least that's my experience. So without any further ado, let's get into the trailer.
All right, here we go. Hey, ladies. Hi. Hey. Oh, it's Katie. Woo-hoo-hoo. Katie, wave hi to the camera, Katie. Hey, Christy, you want to say hi? Come on, give us a wave here, Christy.
Whatever happened to us when we were little, I don't remember anything.
Whatever it was, it thrived on fear. The more we paid attention to it, the worse it got.
Okay, I think it's on. Remember the rules? Yes. Say Bloody Mary 3 times. Okay, let's drop lights. Okay, ready? Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. I'm scared. Stop! I'm sorry. It's not funny.
Spooky sounds. Paranormal Activity 3 is, right now, it's available to stream on Hulu as we record this, but it would not surprise me if it were not still available on a regular Hulu subscription once this releases, because we have pre-recorded this episode by probably a decent amount. So, my synopsis, or I should say the synopsis for Paranormal Activity 3, is that while the first movie in the series focused on Katie, played by Katie Featherston, the gorgeous and lovely and my ultimate fantasy in all horror movies, Katie Featherston. And
it's so amazing how much I love these movies and how little I keep track of any of the actual plot or the characters.
Really?
I'm like, there's 2 sisters that start with a K. I can't remember which one.
Katie and Christy.
Which one comes first? Because I thought it was Christy was the first one.
No, the first one was Katie. You're thinking, I'm guessing the way you got there is we haven't reviewed Paranormal Activity, the original.
We haven't?
We reviewed 2. That's where we started. And that one
we
reviewed
Christy. 2 and
the Ghost Dimension.
The Ghost Dimension.
Right.
Wow, I thought we covered the first one.
No. I know, it's still there. We can still do it.
Wow, why don't we do that one this time?
Because I had seen that one recently and I hadn't seen this one, so
okay.
I wanted to do this one. Anyway, so the first movie in the series focuses on Katie, the older sister, and the second focuses on her sister, Christy, played by Sprague Graydon, and those are both set in the present day. Well, this third installment focuses on their childhood in the late 80s, 1988 to be exact. Katie and Christy are at home in Carlsbad, California in 1988 with their sexy mom, Julie, played by Lauren Bittner, and her remarkably likable boyfriend and kind man, Dennis, played by Christopher Nicholas Smith. Strange sounds and movements start to happen throughout the house, and Dennis, who owns a wedding video film taping company, takes a big interest in catching all of these happenings, all these paranormal happenings on tape. Christy, the youngest girl, has an imaginary friend named Toby, and well, Toby fucking sucks. Julie's mother doesn't seem to approve of Julie dating Dennis, but that's kind of neither here nor there for much of the movie. And then, eventually, our ill-fated family gets more paranormal activity than they bargained for.
We're nothing if not consistent.
That's right. Directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, Paranormal Activity 3.
Activity. That's what Jamie Lee Curtis
Actibia.
Yeah, that's what she sponsored or is the spokesperson for.
Right.
Activia.
Paranormal Activity 3 blows me away. So much about this movie works, and it fucking scares me to goddamn death. I was a wreck after watching this movie. With the kids being a central focus of the happenings in the house, I'm basically on high alert right from the beginning. The stationary cameras that are the calling card of this series are done so well in this installment that I think about it when I think about framing and timing perfection within film. There is a reason for almost everything that happens in Paranormal Activity 3 that is rooted in decent enough logic, and for everything else that the scares are just so intense that I can't be upset. The way this movie uses sound is masterful. Slight movements of boring objects around the house keep me on the edge of my seat the whole time. producers of movies, take note. For the low cost of some fishing line, you can scare me way more than if you pay a huge crew of computer animators to design a monster that runs around and skins people. Mostly, the tension is a highlight of Paranormal Activity 3. While it may not work for everyone, I think the build and release cycles of tension in this are second to none. Every single time that day turned to night in this film, I was properly shook. I love this fucking movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for this franchise. It's such a simple premise.
It's simple.
And
and you've seen it before.
You've seen it
before.
At
least 3 times.
Yeah. And as the series goes on, it becomes more and more thin with the setup.
Yeah.
And this one is like where it starts turning the corner of like, okay, maybe you can't do this a billion times and get away with it.
It works this time. Whoa, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of suspension of disbelief that is required on this one. In terms of like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a stickler for period horror movies.
Man, you're so like, ridiculous.
No, I'm not. So comparing the first two with this one, in terms of setup, the first two like give it a little more credence of like, we have a specific character type that's obsessive enough about this to where they would set up cameras, or there's an excuse to set up the camera. So the first one is like the husband is so enthralled with the idea of paranormal that he wants to capture it on film, and he's like kind of obsessed about it. So that makes sense. Second one is security cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And that getting there like makes sense. The third one, it's like all of a sudden this wedding videographer has like 1 billion cameras at his disposal.
But that makes perfect sense.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense that he would have access to cameras, but it's like, it's a little thinner. It gets a little more threadbare.
This is the most ridiculous reason to be down on this movie.
I'm not down on it. Okay. I'm just saying the
premise is becoming fucked out.
Yeah, the premise is starting to get fucked out in this one. It's not.
But in terms of believability, it still works pretty good. Like, it's like, well, yeah, if you're going to choose somebody in 1988 who has a bunch of video cameras, it's this guy who does a wedding camera video film.
Yeah, the difference is like, there's more shots in the beginning of like, why is he filming this right now? Like, that doesn't make any sense why the video would be running at this point.
Man, it must be so... It must be so hard to be you. Like, I mean, the constantly...
First two...
You're such a good critic.
The first two had a little bit more discipline of, like, there's a rationale for why they're recording right now. So, like, the second one... And it makes it a little better, in my opinion, because, like, the second one, there's almost no introductory camera stuff other than... They're taking video of like their house being wrecked for insurance purposes. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're just making this video to show all the damage that was done on our house so that we can make an insurance claim. And this one, it's just like, hey, I'm just going to start shooting video all the time.
Oh, okay.
And then, just by happenstance, I started catching Paranormal Activity.
Is Bryce being okay? You listeners, answer. Call into the show and let us know. Is Bryce being super nitpicky, or am I being super forgiving? It's very hard for me to tell.
Yeah, I think there's a middle point.
Yeah, there probably.
And this is like kind of where this one lands. It's forgivable. I'm not saying it ruined the movie for me.
How did the movie hit you though? Apart from just the premise of taping, like how did the movie go over for you?
I mean, I've seen this one before, so it's kind of a little bit of the magic is lost when you've seen one of these movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stands up really good in terms of like set pieces. This is a great one. Like there's stuff that sticks with me in this movie in terms of the whole series. Like Ghost Dimension, there's like nothing.
Yeah.
It's so fucked out at that point that it's like I don't even have anything to latch onto other than they crawl through a wall and like a hole in a poster or something like that.
To get to this movie.
to get to this movie.
Yeah. Ghost Dimension is about looking back at this movie.
Remember when we were still kind of good? So this one, the set pieces are great. There's like the light fixture that's a ball swinging. That's great. There's the the swivel camera in the girl's bedroom. Like, girl's bedroom is a great setting. And like just there's lots of good. And the second half of this movie, I think, is a lot better than the first half. Just because it's like, let's get the setup out of the way. And by the time we're like into it, it's like you've forgotten how arbitrary some of that stuff is, and you're into stuff happening.
I'm so dreadfully terrified of this entity. Like,
and it ups the ante because there's little girls. That's the thing. It's like, oh no, it brings in that element. Because I guess 2 had a little boy in it, didn't it?
I mean, he was not he
was like a toddler.
Yeah, and he was not much of a focal point of the movie. Right. Like, really, the focal point was Christy.
Right. And so this one has little girls that are innocent, and you're like, uh-oh. Yeah. That's not good.
And one of them's talking to Toby on the regular.
Right. It's very much like borrowing some of these tropes from other, like, Poltergeist.
Yeah, Poltergeist.
And, you know, any movie where there's a creepy kid or a kid that's more in tune with, you know, the spiritual.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got a lot of good things going for it. I think the ending holds up really well in terms of, like, this is about as expansive as the lore should go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is just ending here. They should have just ended it here.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I think they could have continued to make these movies, but they would have to continue to make redundant movies like this.
Right.
They can't keep upping the ante and being like, but this time we're going to show the ghost or the demon. And it's like, you can't, no.
I think the obvious, like, the last remaining movie that I think would be plausible for being interesting, which I don't think they've done yet.
The only one I haven't seen in the series is 4. Oh, and I haven't seen the Tokyo one. There is a Tokyo one.
What?
Yeah. So
Tokyo.
So there's Paranormal.
I knew there was the marked ones. I thought that was like a Spanish one.
There's well, it's not Spanish. It's set in the Latinx community.
Mm-hmm. Latinx.
Okay. But is that it seems like a patronizing term. I don't think any of the Hispanics that I know would be like, yeah, please call me Latinx. I think that's a thing that white people do to Hispanics.
Yeah, it feels very much like a white girl thrust this upon.
Yeah.
It's the culture, but
like all the Hispanics I know would be like, no, dude, I'm Mexican. What are you talking about? Or, I'm Guatemalan. Anyway, so so it goes Paranormal 2, 3, 4, and then it goes the marked ones, which is the Hispanic kids in LA, and then the Ghost Dimension. And then somewhere in there, I think following this one,
Paranormal Activity, Tokyo Drift.
It's literally the Tokyo. It's like called Tokyo Drift or something like that. The Tokyo tapes, I think.
Yeah. So I think the one sequel that I think they could pull off and make it within the lore and not like stretch it out too thin is, I think if they do another prequel where it's Katie and Christy's father and mother and figuring out how their father died.
Right.
Because I don't think they probably talk about it in some of the sequels, but that feels like they could mine that for an interesting story.
You mean how their stepfather died? How Dennis died?
No, not how Dennis died. How their actual biological father died. Did they say
he didn't die? In this movie, spoilers, the mom comes in like partway through the movie and she's helping Julie put together the beds.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I think you need to go back to, they need their dad. Where's their dad? Like, go back to the dad.
Oh, really? So they're just separated?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, well,
but
cancel that then.
But I mean, you could do the same premise, but like maybe current day Katie and Christy go back to try and figure out like go to psychotherapy to suss out what actually happened to Dennis on that one night. And they're like, I can remember this and that, but because the end of this movie just goes, woo! It's like this exponential, like, it gets really crazy really fast.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really interesting, and it'd be cool to have a whole movie that's surrounding like kind of the exorcism of Emily Rose-esque of like revisiting the memories of that night kind of thing. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the answer is like there shouldn't be any more.
I want more. I'm such a sucker for this. A series.
Yeah.
And it's so heavy for both Carrie and I. Like both of us are like, you want to watch a Paranormal Activity movie? And we're both kind of like, I don't know if I can do it. It's emotionally draining for us.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I give it a 10.
A 10?
Yeah. This is an easy 10 for me. This hits everything that I want in a movie, and it's so horrifying to me. Like I said, I had nightmares. This precisely hits all the things that I'm most keyed up about, just in regular life, which is
low rumbling sound,
unreasonable demons.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't give this one a 10 out of 10. It's a very good movie, but I don't think it ever reaches the engagement level that I had with the first two.
Wow.
Towards the end, it does approach that. I mean, this is a hard one. I'm going to give it... I mean, my knee-jerk reaction is a 7.
David!
But I could be convinced into an 8. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
God, what's the matter with you?
I mean, not every paranormal activity is a 10 out of 10.
No, but this one is though.
I'll move it to an 8. It's a really good movie. So here's
okay, yeah.
Here's the example of how we can measure how good this movie is. So last night I was preparing for this episode and my episode that we recorded today, which was Terror Train. Right. Terror Train was awful, and it was a miserable dredge. Yeah. And like, I checked the time halfway through and was just like, why is it taking so long? Paranormal Activity 3, it was late, and I was like starting to like fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep. But I was at that point of urging to like, I want to close my eyes right now.
Right.
But by the time that I checked the time, it was already like 3/4 of the way through. So I was much more engaged with this movie than Terror Train.
How do you watch these movies? How do you typically watch movies when you're preparing for a horror movie talk episode? What do you watch them on?
Well, last night it was on the TV upstairs using my wireless headphones.
You use headphones for watching frequently.
I mean, not every time.
No.
But
I never do, ever. Almost ever.
Yeah.
With Terror Train, I did because I was, I was doing it during the day at a desk.
Yeah. So, anyways, like, I think the first viewing, I liked it a lot. And I was still, like, well into Paranormal Activity movies, and it was like, I'm ready for more of this. I think after this movie, it kind of turns the corner. I guess I can't say because I don't remember seeing 4.
Yeah, I haven't seen 4. I want to though. I want to.
But yeah, I think it holds up pretty good, especially if you watch them back to back. I mean, it's a pretty good storyline up to this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got their opinions and everyone's entitled to be wrong. So there you go.
Opinions are like assholes. You're an asshole.
With that, if you would like to support Horror Movie Talk, you can do so by heading on over to our Patreon by going to patreon.com/horror movie talk. And, you select your tier of patronage. And if you select the highest one, you can get access to all of our afterpods. You can get a thank you letter with some stickers in the mail. You can get early access to every single show we do, and you get to vote on one show a month for us to review, which, you know, Bryce is not a big fan of, because it makes him watch horror movies that he wouldn't otherwise necessarily want to.
I mean, the patrons don't have a great track record in picking enjoyable movies.
They don't. They do not. They're about 50-50, I'd say.
Yeah. But it's a service that we provide at different tier levels. Hey, do you like covering your body against the elements outside?
I do.
Well,
how did you know?
That's why you should wear a shirt.
Oh, okay.
If you want to wear a shirt with a Horror Movie Talk logo on it, we have those.
Oh!
At our shop at horrormovietalk.com/shop.
We also got a bunch of stickers that you can use to coat the rest of your body with.
If you don't want to wear a full shirt, you can just use them as pasties.
Right. Oh, man.
You just put 2 stickers over your nipples.
Holy shit.
It'll be good. You can go anywhere with that.
If you buy some Horror Movie Talk stickers, use them as pasties, give us a full torso shot that we can post on our social media, I will send you 2 shirts. I will devote that.
Oh my God.
I will pay for them.
You
out
realize
of my
that
own pocket.
It's only exclusively being men that will do this.
Not men. Oh, this is all. I'm sorry. This is a sexist show. We are only offering this to women. Yes. So there you go.
What's Carrie going to think about that?
I don't know. She doesn't have a problem with me watching porn.
Okay.
So also, if you would like to check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel, then you will be blown away by the quality and quantity of artwork that he does, both for us and for Horror Movie Talk fans. You can check him out over on Instagram at dgoebel. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram. And make your artistic dreams come true. Tell him HMT sent you when you go to him to commission some artwork to be drawn up for you. Also, you can reach us at 682-253-4468. Leave us a voicemail. Thank you again, and let's get into spoilers.
Spoilers? God damn.
That was pretty good.
Wow, we were synced up on both episodes today.
It's easy when it's a question, because you're both kind of like, are we doing this right now? So, as I said, I didn't say this yet. This movie actually starts, the start of this movie is in 2005 in Carlsbad, California, and we get to see these 2 sisters in presumably kind of the present day.
Yeah.
Christy and Katie.
So is this the same, like, ransacking of their house that was in Paranormal Activity 2?
2, yeah, I believe so, yes.
So is this, okay. So it's been a while. So were the VHS tapes in Paranormal Activity 2? Was that like specific, were those scenes specifically in that movie? Where they're like, hey, I'm just dropping off some creepy VHS tapes.
No, I think the VHS tapes were in the Ghost Dimension. They found the VHS tapes that were recorded in 3 in the Ghost Dimension.
Okay.
And they also found the fucking like souped up video recorder, the Back to the Future video recorder.
Like the Ghostbusters.
Yeah. That was such a dumb fucking movie.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And it had like LED lights in it to be like, look, it's super cool. It was. Yeah. I think that was all Ghost Dimension. Which, man, it is a Christmas horror movie, but I wouldn't. It's going to sully your idea of the Paranormal Activity series.
And they make the worst decision in showing the monster.
Yeah, that's the thing that Paranormal Activity is good at, is not showing the monster. Getting by on a shoestring budget. Hey, I got a question for you, and this may be putting you on the spot. So if you need some time to think about it, you just let me know and I'll answer. Who's your like babe, your horror movie babe that you're just like, oh man, give me 2 minutes alone and make her willing.
I mean, I would have to go to like the general audience ones where it's like, it'd be a technicality. It'd be like, well, Jennifer Aniston was in Leprechaun. I would fuck Jennifer Aniston.
Wow.
Hard. I would disappoint her so hard.
Wow. That's great. What about,
at pretty much any age too. Like she's a woman that like still.
Yeah. Timeless.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. What about, who's that? What was that 90s horror movie with Harrison Ford about like the surface? It was like, had something surface in the title.
Oh, something below.
Yeah. And it was like some supermodel that was playing against him. Let's see. Harrison Ford.
Yeah. I mean, I would go towards like the icon or supermodel aspect. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't go, I don't think there's any like defined scream queen that I'm like, they're the one.
Right.
For me, it's like, okay. But
what lies beneath?
What lies beneath?
There it is. And let's see who I'm talking
Wasn't
about.
Anne Haitian that? No, that's not right.
No, yeah. So it was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's pretty great.
Yeah.
There's like 2 songs in the last like couple years that referenced Michelle Pfeiffer.
Really?
Which is a real callback for Bruno Mars, the Uptown Funk.
No, yeah.
References Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh my God, she has still got it going on. Look at her.
I can't see.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Just a fox.
Yeah. She's got those kind of squinty eyes that only really, really amazingly hot women
I have the answer for you in the last 10 years. I got your answer. Janelle Monáe in Antebellum. Woo. Yeah. She is the prettiest creature that ever has graced the earth.
Yeah.
Oh, man, she's so pretty. What a beautiful woman. Anyway, so my go-to is definitely Katie from Paranormal Activity.
My answer is any of them.
Katie is... I have such an unhealthy addiction to loving Katie.
You have like this gear in you specifically where like, and I have it in me too, but I think it affects you more. Like you're much more tuned into it to where you can have these, no, what's it called? It's not
fantasies.
Not fantasies. It's like basically crushes. It's another word for crushes.
Oh, infatuation.
Infatuation with people. I remember I sent you like a video of that one hurdler.
Oh,
like the Australian hurdler.
Janelle
something.
Yeah.
It was one where she like, it was like actually like a fail video where she like falls into like a pool of water or something.
Uh-huh.
And I remember specifically so vividly that you're like, God damn, just don't share this with me. Like it's, I went through a big phase with this girl and like, I can't open that box again.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah, if you see the video of her like preparing to go hurdling, it's like there's nothing that can make you crush on a girl instantly than seeing how adorable she is.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm reliving everything.
So
right
I
now.
feel like that's kind of your lane with Katie from Paranormal Activity too. Like, I feel like there's history.
I am in love with Katie Featherston.
It's like it's like a equivalent of a Tiger Beat phase for
what's that?
For a preteen girl, when they're like buying the teen girl magazines that have like exclusively like Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
JTT. Yeah, we both went there because that's how old we are.
JTT. And like, just got photos of him with hearts around him.
Yeah,
Like, just like there's a whole cottage industry around monetizing the crushes of little girls. Like, that's what I feel like your crush for Katie is.
It's strong. She is. I mean, I like this isn't interesting for anybody to hear because it's just me being like, Katie Featherston. But man, if I could get Katie Featherston on, that's a reason for us to buy a subscription to IMDb Pro. I would like if you're like, would you? And I'm like, nah. Just be like, we could get Katie Featherston. I'd be like, okay. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. So back to Paranormal Activity 3. So Katie and Christy in the present day, they find a bunch of VHS tapes after Christy's house has kind of been ransacked, and it briefly kind of shows their house having been torn apart. They assume it was by, a burglar of some variety, but why wouldn't he take anything? And why would he just ransack the entire house? Well, because he's a demon. And now we kind of back up in time to 1988, Christy and Katie as little kids, and we immediately learned that Christy has an imaginary friend named Toby. And as I said before, Toby fucking sucks. And there's just a bunch of little shit in this movie that happens the whole way throughout, and it's somehow my ultimate nightmare is there is something in the house.
Yeah.
There is. And it's touching shit.
And it's nefarious.
It's not only is it nefarious, it's fucking evil. Like, it is evil incarnate.
Right.
And you know how evil incarnate interacts with your house? It touches the chandelier.
It starts out by going, poke.
Yeah. It's like, boop. And you walk into the room and the chandeliers just don't move. They just don't move ever. And this shit happens to me on occasion where I'm like, I'm so keyed in to everything, to sensory input, that I catch everything that happens in my house, and I am the lord of that domain. So I must know what happens in my house. And so it just touches perfectly on my fear, which is I walk into my like entryway and my sconce is moving. And I'm like,
Well, sconce is hung on a wall.
Chandelier. Fine.
Chandelier.
Yeah.
Lighting fixture.
Right. This thing loves to interact with fixtures. It's like turning them on and off. It's poking them a little bit, dusting them occasionally. That demon cleaning service.
Dude, you know what would make a great movie?
What? What?
If you shot all of the Paranormal Activity movies again from the perspective of the demon. And it was like you know who'd do great at it? Like Mark Duplass.
Oh, yeah.
Like as so where he's...
That little shit-eating grin face.
You see Mark Duplass like climbing up on an invisible ladder to like poke the chandelier. Like, and then when he's going to attack, he puts on like the what's he call it in Creep? Mr. Bojangles or something.
Yeah.
Like the wolf head.
Yeah.
That's when he goes like full on creature. He's like, Murr! But yeah, wouldn't that be fucking hilarious if it was from the perspective of the demon, just like,
and there's just like low effort green screen to like show him like climbing the ladder, and like he's actually climbing the ladder, like, but you can't see the ladder. It's just like a man climbing a ladder in front of a green screen.
And then like having him elaborately hold up all the plates and stuff in the kitchen, like with a invisible piece of plywood or something, and then like pull it out.
You know how this series shut up. You know how this series this series does a thing, which is it cycles through cameras. It's camera, then camera, then camera, then camera, then camera, then camera. And the idea is each one, nothing's happening, but you're looking for whatever it is. And this is where the tension comes in. You're like, what is there something in this frame? Oh no, that's just the fish tank. There's just a fish moving around in there. And so So you get a full cycle of cameras, and then it comes back to the first one, and there he is standing there, just like standing still. And then you see his just arm come up real quick, and he knocks the thing off the desk. And then it changes cameras.
I love this idea. This would be so fantastic.
Oh man, we need to shoot this.
This would be great for TikToks.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yes.
Wow, that's such a great.
Yeah, that is a really good idea. Way to go, Brian. Yeah, you've successfully created a whole new lane.
I have another idea for another Paranormal Activity sequel too. We'll get to.
Okay. Oh, you're not going to share it right now?
Not right now. We'll get to. I guarantee you, we'll get to it. The one thing that I notice about this film, and again, this is like nitpicky, but the other thing about this movie is it's like the turning point for trusting the audience, not as much as the first two, to where there's a lot of activity in the beginning, like a lot more than in the first two. It starts off like immediately. Mm-hmm. They're like, stuff, look, stuff, creepy sounds, just immediately to where, and like the thing that you mentioned where it cycles between the cameras and to where nothing happens, but you're expecting something to happen.
Right.
I don't think they ever do it where nothing happens. And that's kind of like the great part of 1 and 2 is that they do trust the audience of like, the dread is if nothing happens, you're like, oh, God damn it. You know, sometimes it's nothing happens on the screen except you hear the low rumble for a second. Like, oh no.
The sound in this kills me. If you're not watching this movie with a sound system or headphones, you're not watching 50% of this movie.
Imagine watching this movie on like a shitty broken down smartphone that has no bass on it.
You just killed the whole movie.
Yeah.
This kills
it's required to have a subwoofer for this movie.
Yes. This has a decent amount of fake out jump scares. Like when he's like drawn throughout the house by a sound that continually moves him up to the girl's bedroom. Then there's a Teddy Ruxpin and he's like, oh, Teddy, it's just you. And then it draws him into the little crawl space closet. And then boom, he turns around and there's Christy. And she's like, and that's kind of a fake out jump scare. But goddamn, if these aren't the best fake out jump scares in all of jump scaredom.
Yeah, the one with his wife was truly great. When she's in the closet.
Oh my
That's
God.
Awesome.
I shit a little bit on that one. I was like, I had already seen it. You know, this was like my second or third viewing and I had forgotten and ooh.
That's funny.
So predictably they film. I think all of these need a moment when they're filming themselves having sex.
Okay. This is where I get to
Okay.
I wish that this is a missed opportunity for this film, and maybe, or they could make a sequel to where the excuse for setting up these cameras is that this couple just films sex tapes all the time.
Right. Everywhere. Just throughout the house.
Yeah. Just throughout.
You know where we haven't done it yet?
We're going
to banister.
Yeah. We're going to fuck in the bed. We're going to fuck in the kitchen. We're going to fuck in the family room. We just got to keep these cameras up everywhere because we're going to travel tonight. You know?
I've never heard that term.
And, so what if like the entire
movie...
movie...
NBA referee in here because you're traveling tonight, baby.
If that was the premise, and it would be even better if they never noticed any of the Paranormal Activity because they're fucking... Because there's like... There's like pictures flying off the wall. There's like...
The most frustrated demon ever.
It's like the demon's throwing books at them while they're fucking. They're like, oh, yes, and then give it to me more.
And then it starts getting real crazy, and the demon starts like scratching him and stuff, but they still don't notice because she's got her hand on his back, and he's like, yeah! And the demon's like, no! And it's just Mark Duplass being like, oh, come on!
Smacking their asses, and they're like, oh, yeah.
Wow, man. I felt that one from the underworld.
It feels like you have 3 hands.
And so as they're filming themselves having sex,
And then the demon just gives up through frustration, just starts joining in the action.
Yeah, she's like, wow, how are you penetrating me from behind? And he's like, oh.
It feels like you're licking both my nipples.
And then, and then it just turns into like Frankenhooker,
right.
You know, like this weirdly sexual horror movie that's like also a splatter. So as they're having, so back to Paranormal Activity 3, as they're having sex, the sconce falls off the wall before the earthquake starts.
Right.
And I love that little blit. And then there's this
cock-blocking demon.
He's like, there's an earthquake, but I gotta get this sconce right off before.
Well, I thought it was a picture.
It might have been a picture.
Yeah, I think it was a picture frame.
I'm in love with the word sconce.
I know. Sconces.
It's
because you're drinking a lot of coffee. You want, to buy one of those sconces.
Scones.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Scones.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
You've been saying it wrong.
I'm misusing it.
Almost 40 years now. So as I'm watching this, something in my upstairs falls to the ground.
Oh.
Audibly, bang, bang. And I was shook the fuck up. And oh man, I was so on high alert. That added. You want some additional shit? Have some kids that like to play with like tub toys that stick to the tiles in the wall. Those things fall unpredictably at night, and it's just like, and the tub makes it echo around the house. It's like boom. It's like, oh god. Anyway, so Dennis starts setting up cameras. And all the tension in this movie is just basically surrounding this cycling through the cameras.
This is another thing that pulled me out a little bit. And this is another nitpicky thing.
Of course it is.
So he's recording with VHS camcorders.
I know where you're going with this.
What am I going to say?
You can only get 8 hours out of a tape max.
No, that's not where I'm going.
But it's a good point, though.
Yeah, but they set that up. They're like, you have 6 hour long tapes or whatever. So it records a lot of it. The part that pulled me out is in 88, I'm pretty sure that night vision was not a thing on VHS camcorders.
There was no night vision in this.
Well, at night you can see everything.
Yeah, but it's pretty dark.
I don't know. It feels like it's not like
this
green.
Is nitpicking.
It's not green night vision, but it's very much like all of a sudden everything's very clear at night to where if this was an actual VHS camcorder, it would be just, you would not be able to see anything.
Yeah, you may have a point there, but that is so nitpicky.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. Like it just blows me away.
Ew.
I'm sorry for having a brain.
It's not that you have a brain. It's just the way you use it.
Okay.
So he starts talking to Christy a little bit because she's acting, like kind of strange. And he asks her to describe Toby. She's like, he's old and tall. And so she drops these little breadcrumbs throughout the whole movie. That's basically like, I wouldn't fucking do that. Toby does not like that shit. Don't touch that chair. Toby's sitting in that chair.
Right.
Don't run away. Don't go in that closet. That's Toby's closet. It's like, oh man, I'm trying to think if I would follow my kids' instructions if they started giving them to me about, some imaginary friend. I don't think I would, even though I'm so over prepared in knowledge for this kind of thing. I feel like I'd still be like, shut the fuck up. Toby can suck my dick is what Toby can do. Like, go sit in the corner like I've had you do every day for the past 4 years is what I would say. So the wife, as you were mentioning, sets up maybe the best scare in the whole movie, which is she leads him into their bedroom closet with his buddy who helps him. Him and his buddy are so likable, by the way. Everybody in this movie is just very, very good and nice and people you would want to be your friends and you'd want to hang out with. So him and his buddy who helps him do his wedding film video recording thing are drawn through the house by these breadcrumbs of sounds, as the demon does. And they get to his closet in his master bedroom, bathroom, and she jumps out of there with a fucking Mr. Bojangles mask on, and it fucking scares the shit out of me. Wasn't that a great one? That jump scare?
Yeah, that was truly great. There's a couple, I might be skipping forward, but the other like greatest scene in this movie where like almost the pinnacle, except the ending really raises the stakes and ends it really well.
Yeah.
But like the pinnacle of the midpoint of the movie, or towards the end, whatever, is his friend
Bloody Mary
babysitting Katie. And they play Bloody Mary, and like all hell breaks loose in that bedroom, and his reaction is so great.
It's so real.
Yeah, because you don't see his like face, because it feels like he's just kind of like holding the camera at his hip at that point, but you see his like hand in a reflection in the mirror, and
you hear him narrating it like, okay, you can do this, buddy. Let's do. Oh no!
It's someone so blatantly like frightened out of their gourd, trying to appear calm for a little girl,
right,
to not freak her out.
Yes,
it's like, it's okay, it's all right,
everything's fine.
I think it's over.
Oh man, when they play Bloody Mary. Oh, I should mention, there is an extended release version of this. I don't know if it's worth watching. I didn't watch it this time. I don't know if I have watched it in the past.
Yeah, it was a theatrical edition on Amazon Prime that we watched.
Yeah, but the extended edition is also on Amazon Prime.
Oh, really?
I watched this on Hulu because I have a Hulu subscription.
Oh, look at you.
Well, yes. But yeah, the scares in this are visceral. Like, they get me so worked up, especially when they're hiding from, because it's a demon. You're hiding from something that knows where you are, has you cornered, can get you at any time.
Right. The other real effective one was Katie being dragged across the room like a couple times when Toby's like just on the attack.
This is the other thing that's so incredibly impressive to me about the Paranormal Activity movies, which is the budget you need to pull off really scary shit is so just buys a bunch of rope and fishing line.
I mean, they're looking for excuses to spend more money. They're like, okay, let's place this one in the 80s, so at least we can spend money on like 80s merchandise.
Right. It's
got to go buy some Teddy Ruxpin on eBay.
Just tie some rope around this little girl's foot and yank it to all hell, and she'll fly across the room. It's it's really effective.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, so basically it's set up, this thing feeds off your fear. There's a point my favorite point in this movie, I don't know why I'm so stuck on the oscillating fan, but I love the oscillating fan camera setup, where he's like, look, I can't get the right angle in this room. And, it's a guy who runs a wedding, he's got framing in mind, kind of. And so he takes apart her oscillating fan and he puts a camera on there. And so now you got this really slow moving camera that pans from the kitchen to the family room to the entryway. And there's a partition in the middle of this. So in between these rooms, the kitchen and the entryway, there's this partition that doesn't let you see anything.
It's like a fireplace or something.
Yeah, it's some sort of it's like a fireplace that kind of separates rooms. And the way they use this fan throughout the movie to like there's something happening over here, or you're looking over here, nothing. Then it comes back over here. You get where the person is, who's in the room. Then it goes back to the front door, and oh shit, the chandelier's swinging, and the light is coming on, and it goes back to the person from the door, and they're gone. And you're like, where are they? Like, there's so much tension around this oscillating fan. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I will always think of the oscillating fan when I think of really well done, gimmicky stuff.
Yeah.
So it's set up, this thing feeds off your fear, but Christy is definitely, friends with it. And
what's the I can't remember what happens to the first babysitter, why she gets freaked out.
Okay. What does happen to the first babysitter? Now,
because that's what happens. So she goes up to the girl's room to check on him. I think she hears sounds or whatever. And she goes towards the camera that's set up, which is next to the door to the attic.
Blows in her
and
face.
then just blows in her face. Goes,
poof. And she's fucking shook. Rightly so. She goes downstairs and sits by the front door waiting for them to come home. And the best part of that whole sequence, apart from it being goddamn horrifying because you're like empathizing with this poor babysitter who's in this haunted house, is Dennis and his buddy's reaction once they're reviewing the tapes. He's like, you got to check this out. And his buddy's like, yeah, what are you going to show me? What's the cool thing that's going to happen here? And then he sees it blow in her face. First, he's like, wow, she's a hottie. Why didn't she introduce, and this standard dude banter. And then it blows in her face. And I love his buddy. He's such a good actor. He's like, whoa! And they're both sitting there like minds like blown. They're like, this is a fucking thing in your house. There's a thing in your house. This is incredible. You've got, yeah, it's I love that. And then and it's great because it sets him up for when he's babysitting. Because they can't get any other babysitters. And now Christy has told off Toby. She's like, "No, I don't like how naughty you are. I'm done talking to you." This little girl's like, "No, I don't like you." And next day she comes down with a fever, somewhat predictably. Somehow, you get a tell a demon off and you come down with a fever. So they take her to the hospital, and that sets up why, his friend comes over to babysit and babysit Katie, which I don't know why you can't just take Katie to the hospital. It's not coronavirus.
Yeah.
So but the scares are worth it.
Yeah.
So she's like, earlier in the movie, he has set up the premise of like, he's vaguely mentioned Bloody Mary, the game Bloody Mary. And now Katie wants to play it with him. So they go in the bathroom, they play Bloody Mary, and
insanity.
Man, all hell breaks loose.
So after that, which is the great scene, is that when Katie gets attacked by the demon later? Because Christy eventually, the little girl is like, okay, fine, I'll give in to your demands. And that's kind of when it pauses. I
think that's after that. So this is so the friend comes over. He's babysitting Katie. They play Bloody Mary, and then things start ramping up. And then the next night, Katie gets dragged into the closet, and a bunch of furniture in the room gets fucking. Toby gets really aggressive over this 2-day course, and that's when Christy relents. And it's like, okay, fine. And, she's like,
ew, David.
I'll do what you say, but ew, I don't like you. So
it moves into the finale, which is they finally just say, fuck this house.
We got to get out of here.
And so they leave. I guess we never mention the symbol in the attic.
Yeah. So
there's like a circle within a triangle kind of symbol. It's like very specifically looks like a portal to hell.
Very witchy.
Drawn on the wall.
Yeah.
Drawn on the wall. And so they go to Grandma's house to escape Demon House.
Right.
And
but if you've seen Paranormal Activity 1, you'd know that you can't. The house isn't haunted. You are.
Right.
Demons haunt people, and you can't just run away from it.
Right.
It follows you.
Right.
But that's not so much of an issue in this one, because there is even more bad actors in Paranormal Activity 3, which is they get to Mom's house, and there's this cycle of like tension that is day and night, right? Day comes, you can take a breath, you can go, okay, nothing bad or too bad is going to happen today. We skipped over one thing, which is one really bad thing does happen in the day. The moment where they decide to leave is Julie, the mom, walks in, she leaves the kitchen because she hears a knock at the front door. This is the oscillating fan going back and forth. She goes to the front door. She comes back. She's in the kitchen. She's like, everything in the kitchen is inexplicably not there anymore. All the things that are on the counter, all the things that were on the table, everything is just seems to be have completely wiped out. And then boom, wham, it all falls down from the ceiling, which just chills. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. And then she freaks out. It's like, okay, it's the house is on, let's get the fuck out.
We gotta get out of here.
And she's like, oh man, I don't have it. Get the fuck out.
There you go.
I can recreate it anytime I want.
Yeah.
So they go to Grandma's house, and Christy's like staring blankly at walls for some reason.
Yeah, and she's looking at, well, they got a lot of creepy fucking pictures all over the walls of this house. But nevertheless, you still are lulled into a sense of somewhat comfort. Like, this is a safe place. I don't know why.
And only in retrospect right now, I'm realizing, why is this being filmed?
Right.
See, now that I have a suspension of disbelief by this point, where now I don't think about it until now that we're talking about it. I'm like,
it's pretty good. The movie's pretty good.
Why would his mother-in-law allow him to just like walk around with a video camera all the time?
He says it. He says, gives me something to do. Makes me feel like I'm doing something productive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, creepy stuff still starts happening. And then the finale is Julie wakes up at night, goes to check on what she believes is a sound that her restless, unable to sleep mother is making in the house. Then she never comes back. Right.
And he can't find anyone. Dennis starts looking around. He can't find anyone in this, like,
he goes into the girls' room, and the girls aren't in bed. And so he starts, like, looking around for his wife and the girls. No one is around. He looks for a while. And then all of a sudden, he stumbles into, like, a witch's coven.
Those garage witches.
Yeah, those garage witches. The worst kind of witches.
Yeah.
And it's his mother-in-law with creepy stare slowly walking towards him. He's like, okay, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. And then he goes back to the house, and that's when he sees his wife. This is a great scene, too. He looks up the stairs, sees his wife at the top of the stairs, and she's kind of like...
He's like, Julie?
She's kind of like standing, kind of like the Grudge girl with the hair over her face.
Yeah.
Or the Ring girl, whichever. One of those
both
Asian girls. And he walks up the stairs, and as the perspective walks up the stairs, you see that she's not standing on anything.
She's levitating.
She's floating. And then the demon throws her at him.
She's thrown at him down the stairs.
And then he finds the girls and tries to rescue them, but then it's like a very Blair Witch moment.
Dude, the thing where he hides in the closet, and they do this several times throughout the movie, where they're hiding in a room or a closet, and they open the door a little bit, and something runs past, and they're like, whoa! It's the concept of hiding in a closet. I don't know what it is, because you know in the moment, this is the worst place I could possibly be. I'm cornered, but I got a door at least. You know, it's like, you're just so prone. Your belly is fully shown.
Right.
Yeah, it works really well for me. And then finally, he's...
the demon just full on attacks him, and like it feels like he gets paralyzed once.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like crawl across the floor in desperation, and then the mother-in-law comes and like gathers up the kids and is like, okay, sweeties, let's go. And then he gets folded in half backwards.
Yeah. Really hardcore contortion.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that. It must have been CGI or something like that. But I will say.
Ouch, David. Ouch, David.
Yeah, ouch. So that is Paranormal Activity 3. My final recommendation is that if found footage is something that you even mildly enjoy, this is, in my opinion, a masterclass in it. Of the first three, I think this is the scariest one to me. And I do love the oscillating fan cam. What do you think about this movie?
Yeah, this isn't, out of the first three, I don't think this is the strongest. It's got some of the strongest set pieces in it. But in terms of like the overall film, I think the first two are both more effective for me. Because I think it has a little more discipline and like the setup and just letting things be nothing for a while.
Right.
But yeah, definitely watch this one. Out of the ones I've seen after this, I don't think there's anything worth really going after unless you were a completist. But yeah, Paranormal Activity. I'm unapologetic about loving these movies.
Same here. This hits it so perfectly on the head for me. It's just a no-brainer.
And I can see like how there's two camps. Like the people that love slashers, they probably hate these movies.
I know.
The Halloween fans that come out at us and are like, fuck you for not liking Michael Myers.
Yeah.
They probably hate these movies. Bugsy probably thinks this movie's pretentious.
Yeah, probably.
And then me, I'm in the camp of I love these movies and I couldn't give two fucks about slashers.
Yeah. My mind is so much more capable of creating something horrifying than if you don't show it to me than Michael Myers.
Right.
Which is, I think about this actually a lot. It's interesting that we don't really talk about it, but there is a lane of person. There's a variety of person for whom, like Michael Myers or Freddy or Jason, are really the scariest thing they can think of. They're like, whoa.
Yeah. The justification I hear is that can really happen. There are really people with knives that will kill people.
Yeah.
No. There are psychopaths that are out there to kill people. And I don't disagree, and that is scary, but slashers feels like the worst way to convey that fear to me. Like Henry, 100 times more scary because that feels way more real and way more like there are people out there that will just murder you for no reason.
Yeah, you're of course talking about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and also like the house that Jack built.
Yeah, so like I like the more approaching it more psychologically than more like faceless, relentless pursuer.
Right.
Because that
seemingly reasonless.
Yeah, that one feels. That part of it just feels like okay, this is so artificial.
Yeah.
Even like a serial killer, like isn't that relentless, and that's kind of the scary thing. Is like you just run away, and he's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like the utter disregard for your life, to where it's like it's not a big deal. Like I don't want to work too hard for it.
Right. Which is weird because you and I probably less able to run away than we would be able to deal with something that literally doesn't exist.
Right.
Knock on wood. Because this is my biggest fear. So with that, let's get into taglines. Here's taglines. Taglines is a little bit where we come up with alternate funny, cringy, bad taglines for the movie that we reviewed. So, you know, maybe
all my taglines are good.
Oh.
You're just referring to yours.
Okay.
The bad ones.
Well,
right?
It's mighty cruel of you.
I think all mine are diamond.
Okay, well then I'll let you go first. What are your taglines?
Paranormal Activity 3. Criminally underutilized Teddy Ruxpin. Dude, that is so true. Like, why wasn't...
They
did nothing with Teddy Ruxpin. That seems like a no-brainer.
Oh, here's one that I just came up with off the top of my head. Toby Ruxpin.
Okay.
That Teddy Ruxpin doll. If you're not familiar with Teddy Ruxpin, you're not old. But we are, and
yeah, it's so funny now that like my kids have like the I can't remember what cartoon they're from, but it's like the Scout doll where it's like the stuffy where you press its hands or it has like the shapes and colors on its tummy.
Yeah.
And it talks to him. And it's like light years ahead in technology versus Teddy Ruxpin. Because if you think about it,
Teddy just had a tape.
Yeah, you just press play.
Yeah, he's just a tape recorder.
Yeah.
Or a tape player. Yeah, there's this Venture Brothers episode that's centered around a Teddy Ruxpin that Hank and Dean get to talk to their dad over the phone, and he just... down at By Golly Gulch, blah, 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 blah. And Dr. Venture like becomes good friends with who he thinks is a real person, telling a real story. Anyway,
but it's actually just Teddy Ruxpin.
It's just Teddy Ruxpin.
That's awesome.
So here's mine. Lamp Touching Simulator 3.
Paranormal Activity 3. Rumble Lower.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of low rumbling in this movie, as with the first couple. But this one has tremendous... Like, theoretically, if we were to follow this curve, by the sixth one or the seventh one, just the movie should
it would just be an entire...
Just sound.
Bass.
Yeah. Okay, Paranormal Activity 3. So much room for activities.
Paranormal Activity 3. Toby or not Toby?
I got one that's centered around Toby, too. Paranormal Activity 3. What if Toby's name is really Kunta Kinte and that's why he's mad?
Wow.
Is that too far? Wow.
Where did you draw the line there?
Too soon?
No, I mean, I wouldn't. The first thought I would have watching Paranormal Activity would not be Roots.
But Toby, though. I mean, that's...
Oh, that's right.
Your name is Toby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bravo. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you. Full circle.
Okay. Paranormal Activity 3.
Right? And if I had a gun with 2 bullets and I was in a room with Hitler, Bin Laden, and Toby, I would shoot Toby twice.
Oh, man. You win. Wow. I hate to toot our own horn here, but toot. These were some zingers. They did pretty fucking good considering you just came up with those in the last 30 minutes.
Right.
Jesus.
All right. There's so many. I could have plumbed the depths of The Office. There's so many like Toby quotes.
We'll have to save it for Paranormal Activity 1, 4, or
the marked ones.
The marked ones or
Tokyo Drift.
Right. So with that, thank you so much for listening to Horror Movie Talk. Please share us with a friend. That's how we grow. You can support us by going to our website, clicking on the Amazon link, doing your shopping on Amazon. A little bit of that. Your purchase goes to us, and that costs you nothing extra. You can also support us, obviously, by becoming a patron or buying things on our shop, or even another alternate method is just supporting those who sponsor us. So do all those things. We love you very much. You should give us a call at 682-253-4468 and let us know what you think about whatever it is you think about, you sexy bitches. You. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Drain addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rum. Kiss, Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face hugger, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare no expert. And global fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids swear not a pedo. Got me eating jello. Pudding pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rum. Something good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30 days shutter and jump scares, they fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. Just show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty ass, stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, horror movie talk. Hold on, they don't like Halloween. Fuck them.
Right? And if I had a gun with 2 bullets and I was in a room with Hitler, Bin Laden, and Toby, I would shoot Toby twice.